So welcome to today's episode of Conversations That Connect with Suki and Tayla. And I think today, guys, we're going to talk about something pretty relevant, parenting and working.
Yes.
So, yes.
It's a big topic.
It's a very big, relevant topic.
Yeah. It's huge. And we're not going to cover it all in one episode either. So, strap on in.
Yes, our plan is to do a few podcasts around this topic, and it's getting different perspectives on it as well. It's not just from an employee perspective, but also from an employer perspective, and then maybe delving a little bit deeper into the psychology of it. And it's a big thing. And when we spoke about the podcast, we have actually a really interesting view on it, because that's the view. Parenting while working. I'm a parent. I've got 2 kids. Tayla is not a parent, but she's a child of a working pair of working parents.
Yeah.
So it's just the levels of perspective that that's interesting, and all of it's relevant.
Yeah, I think we can cover the 4 sides to it. So employee, employer, child, and
parent.
So
Yes.
I think it's going to be a well-rounded series, and it will give a lot of perspective.
Yeah, so it's we spoke about it because it's just relevant. It's not something that anybody can get away from. You might not be a parent, but you're a child of parents, or you work with parents, or you employ parents. So there's it's something that's just in and around the workplace. So we thought earlier this week we'd run a poll on LinkedIn just to get perspective and what people think about parenting and the workplace. And we said when you're considering moving into a new position, what's the thing that's, as a parent, that's really important for you to look at when you're considering new opportunities? And we had the four breakdowns, Tayla.
Yeah, so top priorities that we sort of came up with, that we sort of see as being sort of relevant, is firm values for family life, approachable management, flexible work arrangements, and empathy within the work culture. And flexible working arrangements has by far, with 82%, that's what parents are looking for when they are going into new roles. And you can completely understand why. Like me not being a parent, but with you, Suki, flexible working is sort of the key to be able to juggle it all.
Yes. To try and be a parent and be present as a parent, but also knowing the importance of the fact that you're an employee and you're working with carrying another organization, and play a big part of that. So, and I think the flexible working arrangement, there's various levels of that. And I think there's also various stages of what you can ask and what is acceptable to ask. And that would differ from, obviously, type of role, type of organization, level that you have within the organization, your responsibilities specifically. But that was the flexible working arrangements was definitely the highest. And then we had one that had 0%, which was approachable management. And when I looked at that, I thought, if management aren't approachable, doesn't matter if you're a parent or not, because even if you're not a parent, you still have parents or friends or yourself that you have to look after. So if you're not feeling well, or you have a doctor's appointment, or you've got to have somebody come to the house to come and look at the dishwasher or whatever, if management aren't approachable, it doesn't actually matter if you're a parent or not.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference, I think, knowing that you can go and speak to someone.
Correct.
If you feel like you can't, I think it says a lot about the culture of the place.
Yeah, and I think why it got 0% on our post is because if they're not approachable, it won't even be a consideration. Because if people are flexible in the workplace, they have flexible work arrangement, they're empathetic and they have good values, of course they will be approachable. You would assume that. Yeah. So the firm family values within an organization, that got 9%. And then empathy within a workplace,
the other 9%.
And if you think about the empathy part of it, I think it's that just seeing again that when you're employing somebody, you're employing a package deal.
Yeah, you're employing the whole family. You're not just employing one individual. You're employing the school pickups, the school drop-offs, the doctor's appointments, my kid's sick. Like, you're employing all of that. And that empathy, as a leader, I feel like you do need empathy, whether you're a parent or not, because that supports their mental well-being as well as helps create that supportive environment and that atmosphere where they feel like they can say to you, hey, look, I'm really sorry, I have to go pick up my child from school, they're not well. So yeah, I think all points do speak to different individuals in some way or another. It's really just what is relevant to their situation in that time, or the time is now, really what's relevant for them right now, where it could change in 6 months' time. They could be going through a different season of their parenthood, or their something with their children. So I think it could definitely change in 3 weeks' time if we put the poll up then.
Yeah,
but I think a good leader is in touch with their employees or their team enough to know, or at least have an idea of what season they're in or where they're at with those values.
And have a culture where either the leader can approach the person, which sometimes is difficult if you know something's going on but you're not 100% sure, and you want to create an environment where you're waiting for the employee to come and talk to you. But sometimes it's just a, hey, are you okay? I've picked up, it's not that there's gossip around the office, but I've picked up that there's something going on, or you've been late twice this week. Not talking about the fact that you're late, but you're usually here on time, or you're usually early. So is everything okay? Maybe just that checking in, is everything okay, to open the door to have a conversation. And you would hope that the environment is such that somebody would feel comfortable to come and say, hey, I need a bit of time off, or something has happened. If it's a big thing, they don't even have to go into the detail. Go, I need some time off, and I'm dealing with a family issue. It's probably going to be 2 days, but I'll keep you posted.
And that creates such a buy-in.
Correct.
Because, I mean, if anyone says we understand your families first, they have loyalty, because most people go to work for their family and their family life.
Correct.
That's why we're here, to put food on the table and to give, your family the best that you can, at like giving them all the opportunities. And I know my parents worked their butts off for me and my brother to have every single opportunity under the sun. So I see that from like a child's perspective. So but then, like, I know, Suki, everything is for your kids. And that's why you're here in Australia.
Yes, 100. That's what's driven every decision I've made. It was very interesting. And Naomi, can I share your story about the last 2 days of your life? I was literally just picking the kids up at school before we did this podcast, and Naomi lives in northern Victoria and was told to evacuate yesterday because of bushfires. And the first thing she did when she reached out to me and Tayla was saying, I'm so sorry, I might miss the podcast, but we're evacuating. And our immediate response, without Taylor and I knowing that we responded the same, was families first. Take care of yourself. Work comes second. And you would hope that every organization would do that. And Naomi, you were going to go to work today, but which just shows the loyalty back to an organization again. So, it just hit home for me that things can change like this, and then family is the thing that comes first. It just is.
And it's always a struggle or a challenge as a parent to balance work, family life. You're always trying to do the right thing in each different area, and it is part of being a package deal that you employ, or you're trying to balance every day.
And it's so sometimes it's confronting when you have either yourself or somebody in your family has let's say a medical issue, and you're going for a new position. How much do you say? How much do you let them in to let them know that, hey, once every 6 weeks I have to take a day off, because I've got a friend that has cancer, and he has every 2 weeks he's got to go for chemotherapy.
Wow.
Calls it his jungle juice. And he's been doing this for the last 7-8 years now.
Wow.
Thank goodness. And he's well, considering his condition, but he moved positions probably about 2 or 3 years ago. And it's like, what do I say? And what don't I say? Because you want to be truthful, but you also don't want a new employer to think,
there's a risk there.
Make a decision based on something that's actually a non-starter. So that's difficult. I think that's how much do you tell a new employer? I think there's a balance of how much information you do give in terms of your family and where you sit and what that means. Employers do have a right to know, but if you haven't got the job yet, you're not an employee yet. So there's a bit of a balance around that as well. So interesting topic. We spoke for a long time about that, and what about this, and what about that, and do people think about this? And this is something that we're dealing with every day. We're talking to candidates, and we usually ask.
We want to know about them as a person and their family, and the more that we can get to know them and their values and what they see as their most valuable thing, then we can make sure that we're placing them with the right company that aligns with that. I would hate to place somebody who's very family orientated, that, someone that needs to work home 2 days a week because they've got to do the school drop off because their partner works shift work. Imagine putting that person in a place where they need to be in the office, which is an hour away, in like 5 days a week. Someone who there's no point, and there's no point putting them forward for that job, because we know that that's not what they want. They're probably not going to last.
No.
And that just reflects badly on both of us for putting that person forward, knowing that they're not suitable, but also it tarnishes the candidate's name, because they only lasted a few weeks.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So
on the flip side, if you do put them in the right environment,
they thrive.
And I mean, when they feel like they're able to talk about family life or whatever's going on, then what does the employer get?
Loyalty. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why recruitment is so specialized.
Yeah.
And it's so important because we deal with people.
Yeah. And I think there's a common misconception with recruitment that it's very surface level, it's very transactional, but it's actually not. There's a lot of work that goes in the back end to get to know the person and to get to know the company and to do all of those right things to then make magic. And it doesn't happen straight away. It does take time. And yeah, I think that's a common misconception about what we do in the industry, but it's quite in depth. And you get like you put all of your heart and soul in it, and it's very not like emotional, like sad emotional, but it's you speak about your own family and your own life and with that candidate, so then they can trust you, so you're building trust with them.
Genuine connection as well.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's it's harder said than done.
Right.
No, harder. What's the
Easier said than done.
No, it's harder. I can't remember, but yeah, like people think that it is easy, but it's hard to break down that barrier with candidates as well. Yeah, even just be like, hey, I'm a good guy. Like I'm not that typical shark that
might be out there.
Yeah. And I think that's what the shift in the recruitment the last few years has happened as well, because there's been such a shortage in the market for skilled labor. The certainly during COVID, it was tick and flick. Just send people and we'll hire them. We're not doing all our processes. And like we spoke on the podcast last week, now it's you've got to tick all the boxes.
Yeah.
Plus have a little bit more. So that's actually recruiting. That's actually what recruiting should be. Recruiting should be matching a person with a person inside an organization. So we're just doing the job that we're supposed to do, where we add the most value instead of just going, here's 3 CVs, choose one.
Yeah.
That's not the way it should be. So we're excited about this parenting series that we've got lined up. We're going to be speaking to some really interesting guests from different perspectives again, and leave a note, leave a message, leave your thoughts. We'd love to hear.
Yep. Or if you have any parent-friendly questions, or if you're an organization and you've got questions, or a candidate not too sure how to sort of break down that barrier with your employer, let us know. Reach out.
I'd love to be part of that journey.
Absolutely.
So that's it for today's episode of Conversations That Connect with Montague Group. To join past and present conversations, make sure you follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify, and let us know what you would like to have a chat about next.